Hi, my name is John Paul Raj, and my mission in life is to make the learning of math fun. So if you're new to this channel, please do consider subscribing. This is part 3 of Vectors and Transformations, a unit from igcse 0607 International Math. So if you haven't already seen part 1 or part 2, I'm going to link those videos in the description box below. Please go ahead and take a look at it. Let's start. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to use the cast version of the TI Nspire CX-II. So without any further delay, I'm going to add a graph page. And the first thing to do, we're going to get rid of that function entry edit line by hitting escape. And there it goes. On this video, we're be talking about translation. And translation is always represented with a translation vector. So there's a translation vector that you need to insert along with the object to perform the translation. I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's just go and add an object that is in geometry, shapes, and let's just take a simple triangle to show how we can translate this triangle. So that's my triangle A, B, and C. And now we know how to fill it with a nice color. And let's add a green color this time. And let's just go ahead and quickly get the coordinates and equations of each of the vertices. So that's the vertices of A, vertices of B, vertices of C. Right now we want to translate this. And remember, translation is just a shift, all right, along the X, along the Y. If it's going horizontally right, it's positive. If it's going horizontally left, it's negative. If it's going vertically up, it's positive. Vertically down, it's negative. So the translation vector is important. And to represent a translation vector, you can go and insert a vector again using geometry, points and lines, and pick up a vector. All right. So let's say we wanted the triangle to come somewhere here in the fourth quadrant. Okay, that means it's going to go right and below. Is that right? Right and below. So if that's what needs to happen, somewhere here means it's going to be a little bit here also. But the main thing I'm saying is it should go right and below. Right means the X component must be positive, and below means the Y component must be negative. All right. So we can just draw a vector that demonstrates that way. Right. So I'm just going to fix the point here as the initial point of the vector, and just going to go and something like that. Okay. So that's the vector. All right. So that's the vector DE bar. Okay. Till now, nothing has happened. And as you can see, the vector, this vector means it's going to go below by 3 units and across by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Okay. So each of these coordinates are going to go right by 5 units and below by 3 units. Okay. And let's do that. So we go to menu, geometry, transformation, translation, and now the first thing to do is that first we need to identify the object. And remember, as always, first identify the triangle, the shape. This time it's a triangle, so it has to say triangle ABC. All right. So once it says that, click, and then we choose that vector. The moment you've chosen the vector, see, even before I even come there, it shows that dotted triangle. So that's the vector. That's the translated triangle now once I've clicked there. And that has happened because of this vector. All right. So if I hit escape to get rid of the tool, now this vector, if I just moved along, see, it's a parallel vector. So it's not moving. See, it's a parallel vector, right? Nothing is happening. All these are parallel vectors. And if you've studied vectors, parallel vectors, you know, see, nothing's happening. But the moment I change its dimension, watch what's going to happen, or something else. Can you see that? Can you see that? So the vector of translation, see, can you see that? Let's color this first quickly. So I'm just going to go fill it with some other color, yellow color. And that's the translation vector. And the translation vector actually controls the translation. So what's going to happen is that right now the translation vector has got 3 units down and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units across. But if I change that, can you see that? Can you see that? As I change that, now it's 1, 2, 3, 4 units down and 2 units across. 4 units down, look at the point B. All right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 units down and 2 units across. That's the coordinates of the point B after it is translated. Let's take a different example with a different translation vector. Okay, to do that, let's first go and insert a new problem. So insert a new problem. And again, we want a graph page. Hit escape to get out of that graph function entry edit line. And let's insert a polygon this time. Shapes and polygon. And always remember, polygon means where you start from, you need to end at that point. Okay, so if you start at A and you go and you make a strange shape like that, and you come down to that shape that you, because it has to be closed shape. All right, so it ends at the shape point that you start off with. Good thing to do always is color it. So I'm going to fill it up with, let's say, magenta this time. That's my object. You want the coordinates of the object. Here we go. And like I said in the earlier video also, this might not be helpful in a press to test mode, but if you have homework questions to do, you can always use this mode to check your answers. Or if it is a test where the teacher has allowed the free use of the calculator without any restrictions like press to test mode, you can always use this to check your work. You have to use the geometrical instruments. There's no way out. You have to learn how to use the geometrical instruments to do all these transformations. But this is just a good way to check that your answers are right before you submit your paper. All right, so we are going to have a translation vector. Let's just say this object has to move somewhere in that direction. So positive and positive, okay? Positive along the x-axis and positive along the y-axis. So let's just go and first insert a vector. So I'm going to go and make a vector here. All right, so let's say that's my vector. And if you look at the vector, it'll tell you how many units it's going to be. It's going across by 2 units and going up by 1, 2, 3, 4. Across by 2, up by 4. So again, I think we might have to scale it down. All right, so that's the vector. So let's go and translate this object right now. So I have the transformation, translation. Make sure it says polygon. That's important. Make sure it says polygon. Choose that and then come to your vector. And once you've clicked that, automatically you will see the translated object there. And as I said that, it'll just go up a little bit there. Let me just go and make that 11 perhaps. So you can see all of them together. It might be a little skewed because the aspect ratio is a little skewed, but be careful with these coordinates. Okay, right now the coordinates are the coordinates of the object. Okay, so whenever there are too many coordinates happening, it's good to just adjust this. I'm saying this because, you know, as I said, use this calculator only to check your answers. And so if you're using this calculator to check your answers, it's important that it doesn't get crowded. The moment there are too many coordinates like that, it will get crowded. Let me just color this quickly. So this polygon, the color, let's just make it something like yellow. And there we go. We've got the translated image there. And if you want the coordinates of those points also, you can do the same thing. All right, that's the coordinates of D, C, and that's B. And remember, A prime is out here. Okay, so like I said, it's going to get a little crowded. Be very careful. Once you've done that, copy down in your answer sheets, okay, because the graph sheet is where you'll be doing this. Again, if you were to change this, you know, when you're studying, of course, you can always see, and you know, it's linked dynamically. So, you know, as it moves, the translated points will also move and show the, can you see that? Even if you move that, the new coordinates of the translated object will get updated as you move this vector. So that's a quick demonstration of how to use the TI Nspire CX-II for translating geometrical objects. If you found this video useful, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to see you all in the next video.